Hey everybody, it's Lon Seidman, and somebody at my day job is going to be getting one of these Blackberry Q10s on Monday. They're a Blackberry diehard, but I figured I would take it home this weekend and play with it a little bit so you can get a feel for where Blackberry is at. And you know, this phone actually is really good. I'm actually really impressed with it. Maybe because the expectations are so low for Blackberry these days, but I have to say they've built a good phone. And if you're a Blackberry user, I would really consider this. Let's take a closer look at it, and I'll get into more of my commentary on the business of Blackberry in a minute. But this is it. It has a touch screen here. It's a square screen, so it's a little bit different than those longer screens we now have on all the Android and iPhones out there. I like the size of it. It's actually fits really nice in your hand. It is a little bit longer than prior Blackberries were in the past, and you can see here lined up against the iPhone, it is just a little bit shorter than the iPhone 5, so probably about the same height as an iPhone 4. The keyboard is really nice, as all Blackberries are, and in fact it's one of those things where makes you wonder why they didn't release this phone first. This is the Q10, by the way. The Z10 came out before this, which is more of like an Android and iPhone wannabe, and I think really this is where Blackberry shines. The screen is a touch screen, so you have that capability. There's and I'll show you that in a minute, you have a nice rubberized surface on the back here, so it has a nice grip. There's a decent camera on board that does video and stills, just like any smartphone would. And there's also a camera on the front as well. You power it up with the button on the top here, and when your screen comes up, what you do is just slide up from the bottom, and you'll get all of your apps that are running. So you have your obvious one, the phone, and then if you swipe, so these are all the ones that I have currently loaded. There's like a prior call thing here on the side, and then you have to kind of swipe this out of there. And it's one thing is the operating system feels a little spongy. The screen isn't all that responsive. It's decent, but it's not all that responsive. If you swipe to the left to get to the right, you get a whole bunch of apps that are coming pre-installed on it. So you have your basics, you know, like your pictures and your music and your videos. You also have an app store that they call Blackberry World, and you can find a whole bunch of stuff in there, mostly smartphone apps that are available on other services. I guess they found a way to quickly port Android apps over to the Blackberry platform, and I think you could actually do this yourself if you have the Android APK file. So if you're really adventurous, you can pursue that. They also have like a YouTube app and a bunch of stuff that's built in. And the YouTube app is pretty good. In fact, it reminds me a lot of the app that you see on the iPhone and on the Android platform. So that's pretty nice. And here's the App Store. This App Store actually has everything in there, including music and movies and everything else. So it's very similar to the iTunes Store or the Google Play Store. So to get back, I think, yeah, there you go. You just swipe up from the bottom. You have to kind of start off screen and then move your finger up, which is a little odd. And that's the one thing that's been driving me crazy, is that sometimes it's kind of hard to remember all the gestures that are involved. But the one nice thing is that, you know, all the these stupid games work pretty well on it. So here's Angry Birds Star Wars, and it runs, and I just really, so you guys are going to really pick on me for that bad move there, but it runs pretty well. I mean, it runs like you would expect it would on any modern smartphone, and you know, it has a lot of stuff that's out in all of the other app stores right now, at least the cache stuff. You know, maybe some of the more exclusive releases you're not going to find on there, but that works fairly well. The web browser, let me just pop out of here if we can. The web browser is good. For the first time on a Blackberry keyboard phone, you actually have a web browser. If I can find it again here, there it is. You have a web browser that actually works, and it works actually quite well. So I was just doing some searches for how to load the Android things up on there, but as you can see, you get the full-blown Google mobile, and it properly formats for the square screen, and it does pretty well. But you can see it's, you know, the touch screen isn't all that precise, so there is often a delay when you're moving your finger around. You know, the iPhone and even now Android is starting to get a little bit more responsive in its touch screen, and it also doesn't have a very good touch resolution on it, and that fine movements aren't very well translated onto the screen. But I'm willing to forgive that, mainly because the keyboard is so nice, and it is a Blackberry that has moved into the modern age. So, you know, I think if you're a Blackberry user and kind of trying to figure out what your next steps are, and if you are a Blackberry user specifically because of the keyboard, then I think this is probably the best keyboard phone on the market. I will say that without much hesitation, because everyone's been moving away from hard-coded keyboards, and this thing has got it on board. It feels like a really nice phone. Again, this touchscreen's a little bit off. I mean, you're not going to get all that iPhone and Android fluidity, if you will, but it really functions well as a BlackBerry that's been modernized. And the screen could be a little bit faster and more responsive and stuff, but beyond that, I think if you are a BlackBerry user, don't count these guys out yet. I mean, hopefully the business will survive long enough, and I really think that if they had focused on the keyboard, which is really what makes these phones so distinct in the marketplace right now, and forgotten about that knockoff iPhone and Android, the Z10, I think they would have been in a much better position now. So let's see if this one can carry them, but I will recommend this to BlackBerry users who are really reluctant to leave the platform and move on to Android and iPhone. Let's just hope the company can survive long enough to continue making these things. This is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching.